And I've got to get the Instagram feed up. And there we go. I am Coach James. I'm the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics, which is a science program that uses Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics-related topics, including, but not limited to, friction, force, aerodynamics, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic force, a whole range of topics after we have covered all of the science topics, after we have conducted experiments to drive home those concepts. Then and only then do I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student has the opportunity to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything that they have learned in the course. Once they have selected their cars, they weigh their cars, they check the speed of the cars. We have a speedometer, so you can test the speed of your cars. They check the weight of their cars, they check the year the car was manufactured, the materials the car is made from, all of the information that they can observe. They document that in a spreadsheet. Once they have done that, then, I'm just pulling up a little window here. There it is. That's the one I'm looking for. Once they have done all of that, then there's nothing left to do but take the cars to the track, and they set up a 1/64 scale quarter-mile drag strip and race the cars, and they observe how their cars performed. Did their cars perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they make that same selection, or would they make a different selection based on what they observed? In the end, we have fun with Hot Wheels cars, and we learn science. What could be better? If you would like more information about our science program, All About Aerodynamics, all you have to do is visit our website, aerodynamics.com, or you can find us on Instagram at aerodynamics, and all the information that you need to contact me is in the bio, and we can discuss how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event. But this is not all about aerodynamics. This is all about, just getting over a little cold. All About Aerodynamics presents Wind Tunnel Wednesday. So what is Wind Tunnel Wednesday? Well, we have the Funtech Labs 1/64 scale wind tunnel, otherwise known as the Windsible. And we can take 1/64 scale cars, typically Hot Wheels cars, sometimes Matchbox cars, put those into the wind tunnel, turn it on, see how the air flows over, under, and around those cars, and then that gives us an idea about how much drag is going to impact those cars when they're racing. Well, when do they race? Every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific. We live on YouTube and Twitch. We have live Hot Wheels races on our 1/64 scale quarter-mile drag strip. I introduce new cars into the fleet. I mentioned I bring in 400 cars for the students to use, but in actuality, we are now up to 989 cars. There are we're well beyond that. We're at 995 cars. We have 995 cars, and I introduce new cars into the fleet, and once I do that, the track is already set up. Might as well see which of those new cars is the fastest. But wait, there's more. If you go to AtTheTrack.live, you're going to have 3 options: YouTube stream link, Twitch stream link, but the third link is the most important one. That is the one that says choose your car. If you select that option and that link, it will take you to this page. And on this page, that's the wrong page. Let me bring this up. It is this page. This is the page it will bring you to. And this page has all of the cars that are currently in the All About Aerodynamics At The Track Live fleet listed and numbered and ready to be selected. So all you have to do is go through, find the car that you think is going to be faster than the cars that I have introduced and the cars that other viewers have picked to race. And once you find your car, all you have to do is take the number of that car, drop it in the chat, I will pull it, and boom, just like that, you are entered into the tournament. So let's say you pick car number 411. We scroll on through and find car number 411. It is, once it populates, there we go. 411 is this one. It's the Lamborghini Murcielago LP670-4SV. This one right here. That is a popular pick, but Lamborghinis tend to be popular. So no real surprise there. And if that's the car that you want, you can check the reflection, see if it's a metal body on a plastic base, plastic body on a metal base. Sometimes our cars are metal on metal. And once you have made your selection, then all you have to do is take that number, in this case 411, you drop it in the chat, I will pull that car, and then just like that, you are entered into the tournament. And on Saturdays, we will take the cars to the track and race them. Today, if you select a car, we will put it in the wind tunnel. And let's see here, just got to make a little adjustment. We had a power outage earlier, and some of my some things got reset, but I think we are back on track. So once you pick your car, I will pull that car. On Saturdays we'll race it. Today we'll put it in the wind tunnel, and you can check out the aerodynamic profile and see if that really is the car that you want to go with. If your car wins the tournament on Saturday, you will have the opportunity to go up against our fastest in fleet car, which is this one. It is the RD09. And the RD09 has been our fastest in fleet car for about a month, maybe almost a month and a half. It's been a little while that this car has been our fastest car. It has beaten out all the others that have challenged it, and I was kind of skeptical about this car, but week in and week out, it keeps coming, showing up in the races, performing well. And at the end of each Saturday's At The Track Live episode, we've been leaving with the RD09 still as our champion. So you might be able to find the car that can take out the RD09. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but it's always fun giving it a shot. And today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some cars in the wind tunnel. We're going to put the RD09 in first because it is our fastest in fleet champion. And so the aerodynamic profile that this car has is going to be the kind of aerodynamic profile you're probably going to want in the car that you pick, so that you can have a chance to minimize the impact of drag and do well in the race. So we're going to grab this RD09, head on over to the wind tunnel. Hey, Roughshod, how you doing? Let's see here. Flip it over to the wind tunnel. There we go. And drop the RD09 in here. The RD09 with its... The thing that made me skeptical was not the shape and the design. It was the back end. It was these two points that it has that sort of straddle almost the launching block. The block that pushes the cars out onto the track. And I just didn't think that this car was going to get consistent launches, consistent enough to let it be one of our top cars. But I was wrong, and it's the reason why we have to race the cars. I'm going to fire this Windsible up. See what we see here. Get that little puff of air. It's going to shoot out right about now. Let's see. There it is. All right, so we're at 67 miles per hour, and we're going to go ahead and crank this up when the smoke kind of came into view, we saw the path that it was taking over the body of the car. And one of the main things with the cars that have done very well on the track, we're up to 134 miles per hour, is the fact that they typically don't have the traditional windshield set up to obstruct the flow of air over the top. We're up to 161, and what ends up happening is that air hits right at the nose of the car, comes up on the hood. There's that smooth transition between the hood and the windshield, and then most critically is the transition between the windshield and the roof. And on a regular car, you have a couple of different angles, but on this one, there's no interruption. That air just flows right over the top, right across the driver's canopy, right over the engine, which is in the back, and flows off the end. And as we push this up to 188 miles per hour, it's just pretty smooth. We don't see a lot of turbulence as far as the air that is passing over the car. A little jittery, but that's just from the airflow. It's not the kind of turbulence that we'll see on cars that are not more aerodynamically sound. And this is a similar profile to what we saw with the Blitz Speeder. It's similar to what we saw with the Slide Kick, the Gazella R. All the cars that we've had, not all of them, I take that back, because there have been a couple of weird ones in there. The majority of the cars that we've had that have been dominant AtTheTrack.live champions on our track have been cars with aerodynamic profiles similar to this. We've had a couple in there, like the Dogfighter, that Mercedes-Benz 500E. We've had a few cars in there, but those cars weren't champions for very long. A couple of weeks, and then another car took them out. But as far as the cars that have been kind of long-term champions, it has been cars with pretty kind of similar aerodynamic profiles, with the where the air is able to flow right over the top of the car, and that is pretty much what we get. Now, with this being Christmas Eve, on our races on Saturday, as I bring this back down, on our races on Saturday, we had a special car entered in that I had to make a little modification to. The car was this one. It's the Rockin' Santa Sled. And this car is another one of those Hot Wheels that had the little tabs on the back wheels, and those little tabs, every time the wheel rotated around, those tabs would hit another tab that was attached to the Santa right here, and it would make Santa rock back and forth as the car went down the track. It was the same thing that happened with that Grogu car and the Rockin' Railer, but it was slowing it slows the car down and slows down the car's forward momentum. So I've just decided that the one modification I am willing to make is to just cut off the tabs on those kind of cars, because it's just not fair. Since I've done that, Santa took on, I think Santa went up against the Grogu car, because the Grogu car was so terribly slow. The Grogu, the slowest car we've ever had in the history of AtTheTrack.live. The Santa car destroyed it, and we had a little exhibition race. But then we moved on to the regular tournament, and I forgot to bring Santa back onto the track. So I think Santa this Saturday, is going to be in the mix, is going to be in the tournament. And if he's got any gas left in the tank after all those Christmas night deliveries, then, you know, we'll see how it performs. But once we took the tabs off the wheel, this actually became a pretty decent performing car. So I'm going to throw it in the wind tunnel because I don't remember if I had done that before. But we're going to do it now. Hey, Christopher. Let's see. Get this here. You want to see the Speedy Perez car in the wind tunnel. It's funny because I remember the name, and then I remember looking up who exactly Speedy Perez was. And he is a real person. I don't know if he's still alive, but at some point he was. And yeah, I'll pull that car. All right, so we've got the Rockin' Santa sled, and let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Santa is in that kind of bobsled position, head down, trying to get cycling, bicycle riding, cycling, when riders are leaning down, trying to reduce the impact of drag and trying to get into a more aerodynamic position. That's exactly what they call it, taking a more aero position. All right, we're at 94 miles per hour with the Rockin' Santa sled, pushing it up to 121. And seeing that air flow up over the top, hitting Santa, and then kind of trailing around. So part of the thing, we're at 134 miles per hour, that we see is where it looks a little hazy right here. That's because this air is coming up, hitting the Santa, and then it's got to go over, under, and around. Some's going over, some's going around, and it just comes around. So that's where you get this kind of hazy look. Pushing this up to 161 miles per hour. Air's kind of flowing right over Santa. And again, the turbulence as far as the airflow, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. And this should be an interesting car to see race. Because again, we raced it against Grogu. Grogu's the absolute worst car we've ever had on the track. And the Rockin' Santa sled just blew it out of the water. But it's kind of hard to tell exactly how fast a car is when it is going up against an awful car. And Grogu's as bad as it gets. So, yeah, Rockin' Santa sled. Aerodynamic profile doesn't look bad. So, we'll just have to see how this car performs when it hits the track on Saturday and takes on some of those other cars. Bring this down. Now, another car that was did pretty well. It did exceptionally well on Saturday. Was one that I didn't expect to do well because not because it has a bad aerodynamic profile, but because it's a premium car. And as a premium car, it is metal on metal. And that usually means that heavier cars, this one weighs in at 54 grams, and usually heavier cars have a problem on the track because they're just too heavy. This Lamborghini, this was a Veneno. This Lamborghini Veneno, all metal, 54 grams, which is extremely heavy. Most of the cars that we have on the track that win and do well fall in the range of 32 to 36 grams. This one is 54 grams. And so I immediately thought, because of that weight, it was not going to be competitive on the track. But that's why we raced the cars, because I was wrong. This car did extremely well. And it was pretty shocking, because a car that heavy, you just don't expect it. You expect gravity to take over and kind of limit the speed towards the back end. That wasn't what happened. This car won the tournament and was only beaten by the RD09, and that's saying a lot. So I want to put this car in the wind tunnel because obviously it's heavy, and that's a negative, but I believe that if you figure that there's gravity, there's friction, and there's drag working against the cars that can minimize the impact of those three forces is going to do well on the track. So if we take and think about it like, and this isn't precisely accurate, but just a way to think about it, if we assign a number to each of those forces, let's say 10, and each, if we start off at 10 and say how much can each car minimize each force. So with gravity, gravity is going to impact the cars, but for the heavier cars, it's going to work to slow those cars down because they're all getting the same amount of force. So if we say with gravity, this car, let's say, was not able to minimize the impact of gravity, just because, based on the weight. So gravity was going to be working full on against this car. But then if we talk about drag, I think this car's aerodynamic profile is so good that it minimizes the impact of drag to a greater extent. It minimizes drag so much that it almost makes up for what it doesn't minimize with regard to gravity. So it's making it up in a different area. So let's go ahead and turn this up and see what we see. And again, you look at that profile and you see, similar to the RD09 and some of the other cars we've talked about, there's that smooth transition between the hood, the windshield, the roof line, and then, like some of the other cars we've seen in the past that have done well, it does not, there's no drop off, or not a severe drop off. And even though it looks a little steep, it's not too bad. So we're at 67 miles per hour. Let's turn this up, take a better look. Okay, so Christopher wants 444, 445, and Speedy Perez. Okay, and Roughshod 229 and 361. Let me write these down. So right now we're at 147 miles per hour, and pushing this up to 174. And definitely another car with just a good solid aerodynamic profile, up to 188. See here. Alright, so 444, 445, 229, 361. Yeah, I mean, Lamborghinis are popular picks among the students. And this one actually, I'm trying to think. We had this one go up against the other Veneno, which was metal body on a plastic base, which is more of the typical Hot Wheels setup. And I believe that the metal on plastic came out on top, but then we made some modifications. I swapped out the launcher, and the results were a little different. So either way, it's surprising that a car this heavy could do as well as it did on the track, but it did. So that makes me want to go back and reconsider some heavier cars. But the problem is, a lot of those heavier cars are some old school 80s cars that I have, and they are not this aerodynamically sound. So just being heavier without the benefit of the great aerodynamics probably isn't going to work out. But this car was definitely one to look out for. So we have the Lamborghini Veneno. Let's push this on up. Usually we're not going to see much more at 188 miles per hour than we will at 215, but this is where we are. We're at 215 miles per hour, and it is still just a very smooth airflow right across. It's detaching a little bit in this area right at the roof line, but not so significantly as to have impacted this car's performance. So this was an interesting pick. So we have the Veneno, the Lamborghini Veneno, that is metal on metal, which is this one, this premium version. And then we have the standard kind of mainline Hot Wheels version, which is also in the fleet. So we have, let's go ahead and take a look at, take a look at these first two cars that Christopher's looking at. So we'll take a look at the first one. The first one is this 86 Monte Carlo SS. And this one is a good looking car. 86 Monte Carlo SS. It has a large frontal area. That grill is going to, that air is going to hit that grill, and then it's going to kind of stack up there, and then it's going to have to go over, under, and around that the body of the car. And then we look at we were just talking about that transition between the hood and the windshield, and on this car it's very traditional. And so that means that air, once it comes up over the top, is going to hit that windshield. Then it's going to have to come up to the roof line. And with traditional cars, where we usually see the airflow start to separate from the body of the car is right around this area, sort of the mid to rear section of the roof. The air just starts to tail away, and this air is not going to flow down and come down the windshield, the rear windshield, very neatly, and then off the trunk. It's not how that's going to work. And so we're going to have to see what kind of aerodynamic profile this Monte Carlo has, how that airflow impacts it, and if we can get any ideas about how we think this car may perform on the track. It is in a group of cars that has raced on the track. Anything from well, maybe it hasn't, because this is car 444. I forget. Yeah, this may not have raced. This may have been a car that was in there just before we started At the Track Live. So this car may not have raced. And what I mean by that is that cars from about 450 on, that's when we started At the Track Live. So every single car from 450 all the way through 995 have already raced on the track. They've raced on the track, and at some point they've lost. Cars that are before, from like number 2 through 449, have not raced on the track, and therefore we don't know how they're going to perform. At least they haven't raced with At the Track Live. I've had students pick some of these cars before. All right, here we go. So we see that at least at low speeds, that airflow, when it came up, it followed right along the roof line and then dropped off right here back towards the trunk. So that's a good sign. Now let's see though, because this is at 80 miles per hour, let's see what happens when we crank this up. This is at 134 miles per hour. And we're still getting a pretty good flow. Push this up to 147. Still pretty good. Pretty good. Much better than I expected, honestly. And let's see. It's going up to 174. And this really isn't bad. You see the air stacking up in the front, which is what we expected, and where you see it a little brighter white, it's because that air's stacking up. Hits that front, that grill, and then has to figure out which way to go, just like the Windsible has to figure out when to stay turned on. Let's go. Push this. And now we can see that some of that air, after it gets deflected up, is kind of following this path right here. It's kind of coming all the way up. Most of the air, though, at least from that third stream, is hitting right on the hood, the windshield, coming up to the roof line. But some of that air from that second stream that's hitting the grill and the bumper and then coming up is arcing kind of up, so it's kind of pulling away from the body. That is something that we didn't see with the Lamborghini or the RD09. Even the Rockin' Santa sled, we didn't really see that much. So let's say we are coming over the top and looking at, yeah, where this air, so I've pushed it up to 161 miles per hour, and the air is hitting, and then it's getting a little turbulent. This air is not staying attached to the body, and what you want is the air to stay attached to the body. When that air detaches, there's changes in pressure, and there is just increased drag, which is going to work against the forward momentum of the vehicle. And that's not what you want. We're up to 174 miles per hour. Pushing this right on up. And going to 188. And this car, I think, it's another situation where the matchup is going to matter with this car. If this is a car that races, it is going to. I don't think it has a terrible aerodynamic profile at all. I think it's decent, but it's not as good as some of the top cars, especially the RD09. So we're at 188 miles per hour. Drop this down here just a little bit. Bring it all the way back. So I like this car. I don't think I've seen this one. I don't think I've seen this one race. So if this is the one that gets picked, then that will be all good. And then the other car that Christopher is considering is this Dodge Viper SRT 10 ACR. Let's go ahead and get this one up here. Another good looking car. Let's take a look at this one. This Dodge Viper. Instead of picking cars today, race them on Saturday. Now we're not going to race them all. You got to make that's the tough part, because there are so many different choices and reasons to go with different cars. But I'm going to be introducing more cars to the fleet, and this is part of the challenge, and this is something that that the students have to deal with, is that you kind of have so many choices when they're looking at 400 different Hot Wheels cars. And most kids who have gone through all about aerodynamics, they have Hot Wheels cars, but at that age, very few of them have hundreds and hundreds of Hot Wheels cars. So when I bring in these cases full of Hot Wheels cars, and they're sitting there and they're looking at those cars and they're trying to make the decision of which car they want and why, and they know they just have one shot, one pick, it is it's a challenge. But it is also kind of forces them to focus in on why they're making the pick. If you've only got one pick, then you want to make it count. And so when they make their pick, that's their pick. And similarly, on AtTheTrack.live, you get that one pick, but the good thing is there's always another race a week away. So here we go with this Dodge Viper. I really like this car. This is one of the ones that sometimes Hot Wheels, they don't seem to go all in on the decals and the paint. This one's got the top tier paint. They've got the little effect on the headlights to make it look three-dimensional. Little accents everywhere. My only slight problem with this car is the fact that the white wall on the back tire, they have a white wall, but on the front tire, it's a yellow ring, a little yellow wall. So I don't like that. I wish they'd made a choice, one or the other. Probably going with the yellow would have been a better idea, because there's no white anywhere else on this car. All right, let's hit it. We are going 67 miles per hour is our cruising speed, and as you could see at that back end, like at the back part of the roof line, we started to see the air kind of break away a bit. But let's go ahead and push the speed up, take a closer and better look. And the air's kind of stacking up in the front, jumping from the hood right up to the roof line. We're not really seeing as clean a airstream as I probably would have preferred to see out of this car, but I'm going to look at, let's see, 147 miles per hour and 161. Not too bad, not too bad. Gonna push this up to 174. And really I'm just looking in this area here. That air is stacking up, and then it's not necessarily flowing in the same way that we saw the airflow on that Lamborghini or on the RD09. It's just kind of hitting here and going right up over the top. We see some of the air kind of trailing off here. And let's go ahead and push this up a little bit. Pushing it up to 188 miles per hour. And we've got a good look. And if this is the way that the route that Christopher, and it looks like Christopher is going with the Viper. So this is going to be interesting to see how this car performs, because looking at it here, it almost seems like that Monte Carlo had a slightly better profile, which sounds crazy to say. I mean, this is in the real world, this Dodge Viper is a high performance, I guess it'd be right on that supercar, in that supercar discussion, at least this version. So this is the one he's going with. It's a little tough. Sometimes it gets a little tough. I'm going to push this up to 201 miles per hour. And then I'm going to go and grab Roughshod's cars, 229 and 361. Okay. Well, I guess the Windsible decided it had had enough of the Viper, and since Christopher's made his selection anyway, we're good to go. Now, Roughshod is going in an interesting direction with this first possibility, which is the Range Rover Velar right here. And very interesting to pick an SUV. I'm trying to think if we've had trucks that have done well. I'm trying to think if we've had an SUV perform well on the track. It's possible. I just can't think of one offhand. Well, either way, this Range Rover is going in. It's got another car with a large frontal area. Aerodynamically speaking, doesn't look like it's going to be too bad. But let's go ahead and throw it into the wind tunnel and see what we see. And it doesn't feel heavy. It is metal on plastic. It definitely does not feel heavy. So that's a plus. It is a good looking car. Right there. And we're going to see what the aerodynamic profile looks like. I'm just really, I can see the air stacking up here. And then it's got to go up and then over this hood and then up here. I definitely can see the airflow probably breaking away right in this area, possibly, but we'll see. We'll see. I think the bigger issue is going to be right up front, but let's check it out and get this thing cranked up. See where the lines first appear. That's not bad. That is not bad, but let's go ahead and push this speed up. We're at 67 miles per hour. Gonna push it on up to 107 miles per hour, and you can see, similar to what we saw with the Monte Carlo, that air stacking up in the front, and then when it comes up, you can see some of it is just arcing all the way up. It is not a smooth flow. We didn't see that with the RD09. We didn't see that with the Lamborghini. We're up to 121 miles per hour. It's just a lot. When these vehicles are moving, when anything's moving through the air, you basically have to push that air out of the way, whether you're in a car, whether you're on a bike, whether you're on a skateboard, if you're just running, you have to push that air out of the way. And when there is more resistance to you as you attempt to push that air out of the way, especially as you move faster, drag is going to become more of a factor and increase. And what we see with these cars is the same thing. As their speed increases, as we turn up the speed in the wind tunnel, we see how they're likely to be impacted by drag. And what you want is for that airflow to stay connected to the body of the car, follow the lines of the car. This is not the case so much with this one. It's definitely not bad. I actually like what I'm seeing in this area more so than what I'm seeing right up front. So we're up to 174 miles per hour. We're going to push to 188. Hold it steady. And that is the Range Rover Velar, one of the cars that Roughshod is considering. Big luxury SUV. And the other one that he is considering is this one. It's a Batmobile. It's one of our Batmobiles, one of our many Batmobiles. We have Lamborghinis, Ferraris, GT40s, and Batmobiles are the things that are most noted in our fleet. And I believe the number of Batmobiles is in the teens, if I recall correctly. And this is one of the Batmobiles. Now, I'm not sure how, when looking at the Batmobiles, and matter of fact, a few weeks ago, or about a month ago, we had a Batmobile, the Arkham Asylum edition Batmobile, was our fastest in fleet champion. Its design was not necessarily like this one, but it was a Batmobile, and it was our fastest car. Can this one become the same? I don't know, and I'm not sure how Roughshod. How did you kind of narrow it down to this specific Batmobile? That's it's kind of interesting. So let's go ahead and throw it in the wind tunnel. It has a lot of the properties and styles that we like to see on these cars. Let's go ahead and line this thing up right here and see if this Batmobile can measure up to the previous Batmobile that was our fastest in fleet champion. Let's go ahead and fire this up. and see when those lines appear, where they're flowing. Haha, he said it's gold, and that's it. So it's the gold Batmobile. And that gold caught his eye. We'll see if the gold can take the gold in the tournament on Saturday, if this is the one he goes with. We see that air just kind of arcing right up over the top, but that's at a low speed. Let's go ahead and turn this up. Push this up to 107. You start to see some of the smoke in front kind of clear out. Getting a little better. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me. Let's start this all over again, because I forgot to switch the camera. Thank you for the reminder. All right. Let's go again. We've got it locked in, and now you can see how that air is starting to flow over the top. And go ahead and push this up to 94 miles per hour. And if you look closely, it's not as smooth as some of the other cars that we saw earlier. Like, you just see kind of faintly the air is hitting here, and then it's trailing up just a little bit. Not a lot, but you can see it. This is at 94 miles per hour. Let's go up to 121, see what we see. And as I mentioned, I don't really pay too much attention to the air flow on the bottom of the car, just because I have those wheel stands there, and that does block the airflow in a way that that's a little unnatural and won't be happening when the cars are on the track. So there's not really a lot that we can tell from what's happening on the bottom. But on the bottom, most of these cars are flat anyway, so in that regard, they're all similar. It's on the top where they're different. Let's push this up, see if we can see something. Going up to 147 miles per hour, and you can still just see right here that air is hitting the front and coming right up there. Ideally, what you would like to see is just a clean airflow here between this third and fourth stream. Right here, it's clear. I mean, it's dark, and then it gets grayed out because that air is hitting at the front, coming up over the top. And that is not ideal. So this is it. Did I order the stands? They're magnetically adjustable. What? I'd have to take a look. They are Funtech Labs. Is not exactly. I mean, it's a newish company, and I think there's a lot of things they're still working out, and they probably have just a few people doing a lot of different tasks. And I found that they're ordering. You kind of have to follow up with them. Sometimes it gets a little weird. Like when I ordered the Windsible, there was some weird thing where they took my money, and when they took my money, I had to put in my shipping address. But then a month or two after other people had started receiving their Windsibles, I eventually found a little thing on their Discord channel where they wanted you to go back in and confirm your shipping address. Well, you already had my shipping address that was confirmed when I paid you and I filled out the form. So that was a little weird, and it delayed me getting the Windsible. And then when I ordered the Runsible, that also was a little weird, and I had to keep going back and forth with them after some time. And then most recently, the nozzles were up to 188 miles per hour, pushing it up. When I ordered the nozzles for the wind tunnel, um, those were very much delayed, and I eventually had to send them a bunch of emails, and then they finally responded, and then I received the different nozzles. So I don't know. I'd have to go back and check and see if I ordered any magnetic uh, wheel stands or stands that they have available. Um, it's quite possible that I ordered them, and that order just hasn't come through. So, all right. So we've got the gold Batmobile, which is one of the cars that Roughshod's considering. He's got that. He's got this Range Rover, which would be probably the first SUV to really enter a tournament of ours. I don't recall any other SUVs being in the mix. So it is altogether possible, but we will see. Oh yeah, Carmen, yeah, that parking lot thing that Funtex Labs has made, it does look pretty cool. I got an email from them that there's going to be some kind of festival thing. It's in Germany, and they're going to have it on site for people to check out and I guess probably order, purchase, what have you. So if you're in Germany, you might want to check it out. All right, so we've got Roughshod's got got a choice to make. Okay, wait, he's made his choice. He is going with the Range Rover. It's going to be the Range Rover hitting the track. We've got Christopher has that Viper. We have the Rockin' Santa sled is going to be trying to take them all down, and we will see how that all works out. And I have some cars that I've picked up. I was at the Mattel store yesterday. I was looking for something completely different, and the store was pretty much wiped out because they're not open today. So yesterday was like the last day people could go in there and make their Christmas holiday purchases. And that store was, I've never been in there where I've seen empty shelves to that extent. But there were some Hot Wheels, and I picked up 3 Hot Wheels and 1 Matchbox car. Nothing, you'll see on Saturday. Nothing too extraordinary or extreme, but we'll see. We'll see how those turn out. The Parkable, that's what it's called. How much is that Parkable going for? Because I know that Windsible, the one that I have, it's like 2 something, I think. The 1/18th scale and the 1/24 scale one are astronomical for my wallet. They're like 500 plus bucks. The Mattel store. There is one here in El Segundo. So the Mattel headquarters at the on the first floor, they have just a factory store, and it's kind of cool. But I know that they do have something specifically for Hot Wheels enthusiasts. So it's some kind of like number system. Like you get there in the morning and you get a number, and then they let certain numbers of people in, and they restrict like the number of purchases you can make. I haven't done it because it's usually for the premium cars. That's why everybody's lined up. And since we can't run the cars with the real riders on our track, it doesn't really, I don't care. So I'll just go in there later in the day and see what's left. It's a lot of some of the stuff is kind of overrun because you'll see groups of things that maybe, I don't know, didn't sell. If you go to the section, so they have Hot Wheels section, the WWE, Barbie, all kinds of things. But with the WWE, you see the figures who really didn't sell. Like the ones that are, you think they're warming the pegs in the stores. They're just tons of those things in at the Mattel store. There's another one in, I think there's one here in El Segundo. There's one in San Bernardino, California, still Southern California. And I believe the only other one that I saw on their website is somewhere in Texas. But if you Google Mattel store, they should have that info. But every once in a while, like I'll go there, and especially since I'm just looking for mainline cars, I can find some that are pretty cool. So I picked up 3 that say new for 2026, so pretty new cars. And yeah, that is what we're going to have on Saturday when we race these cars, 11 a.m. Pacific. We are going to have the Rockin' Santa sled. We're going to see Santa. We took the tabs off. We are going to see if Santa still has the juice and can beat out these other cars. That would be pretty ideal. Oh, I also forgot. On Saturday, we will be hitting our 1,000th car. So I have already selected the car that is going to be our 1,000th car entered into the fleet. So we are going to have that. So if it's ideal, I really do want the 1,000th car and the Santa car to be in the finals. But, you know, it's not always how it works out, which is why we race the cars. So we're going to have, at the very least, we're going to have the Rockin' Santa sled. We're going to have Christopher's Dodge Viper, Roughshod's Land Rover. We're going to have our 3,000th car, our 1,000th car. And we're going to have some of the other ones that I have picked up and pulled out of storage. So if you want to participate, all you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, select the Choose Your Car option. You will be taken to this page. On this page, there are 990 cars listed. I have to add in the cars from last week. So pretty soon it will be up to 995. And then we will be ready to go for Saturday. We are going to hit our 1,000th car in the fleet. 1,000 cars cataloged, 1,000 and counting. So I've already picked that car out. It took me a couple of weeks to figure out which car it was going to be, but I figured it out, and I think it has a good shot of doing well. So find the car that you want to race, take that number, drop it in the chat on Saturday. I will pull that car. You'll be in the tournament. We have a 1/64 scale quarter-mile drag strip that is ready to go. It is a different calculation. If you've never raced on our track before, it's a different calculation. It's not a gravity track. It is a flat drag track. So, drag is going to be the biggest force that's working against these cars and their forward momentum. Then you've got friction, which you can mitigate if you can get a car that stays straight on the track. And then gravity. Heavier cars do better on gravity tracks. On our track, not so much. They tend to slow down at the back end. But that is not always the case. This Lamborghini Veneno, this 54-gram car, won the tournament last week. It was incredible. So weight is not always the negative factor that we thought it was. So we're going to have fun. We're going to race the cars. Hope everyone has a great Christmas. And yeah, we will see you on Saturday. So for Wind Tunnel Wednesday, for All About Aerodynamics, and for At The Track Live, I am Coach James, and I will see you at the races.